Congratulations and welcome to you all for coming together to celebrate the first World Engineering Day on 4th March 2020. This day will be celebrated every year on 4th March and acknowledges the achievements of engineering around the world. It was a significant achievement of the Federation in its 50th year in 2018, and I was proud to lead this initiative and have this declaration made by UNESCO in late 2019. As you know, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations has members from some 100 nations representing 30 million engineers. We had letters of support from our members and from the engineering institutions of the world, which represented more than 24 million engineers. We were supported by UNESCO, especially the Natural Science Sector Capacity Building Division. But most importantly, it was the member states of UNESCO that were critical to putting this item on their agenda for their General Conference and for voting for it unanimously. This is a day that has been declared by the governments of the world, recognizing the importance of engineering for sustainable development. This takes engineering to a new level of recognition. It is an opportunity for engineers and all engineering organizations to celebrate their achievements and contribution to the world for water, for access to energy, for sustainable cities, and for solving the challenges that the world faces today. This is our day, the first and only International Day, and I hope that you will celebrate this enthusiastically. And if you meet a young person, I hope you will say, become an engineer, because this is your opportunity to make a better world. Thank you.
Challenges of the future will require the efforts of engineers, and this month the world is acknowledging the necessity of that contribution. In 2015, the United Nations General Assembly developed 17 Sustainable Development Goals to tick off by 2030. Described as a blueprint for a better future for all, the goal addresses man's most pressing global challenges, from poverty and inequality to climate change and environmental degradation. With the deadline a mere decade away, engineering has become even more critical in achieving these urgent objectives.
Engineers themselves are the ones who are the engine of the development of the nation, the society. And they are not celebrated per se. So when the United Nations now brought up this SDG, saying, by the year 2020, right, we should have 17 goals, that is the Sustainable Development Goals, right, to be achieved all across the world for them to be able to move forward. The World Federation of Engineering Organization use as an opportunity that these SDGs that the UNESCO are saying, engineers have a very strong impact in it, because they are the contributors to whatever development is going on in the world. And then from what I read, they agitated that engineers can play a role in SDGs, and then why don't we also set up a date that we can say worldwide as Engineering Celebration Day.
This vital role of engineers is now recognized through the annual World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development, held for the first time on 4th March this year. The date was chosen in acknowledgement of the formation of the World Federation of Engineering Organization on 4th of March 1968.
The Sustainable Development Goals have been set up by the UN, United Nations, to make engineers, and in fact not only engineers, in fact the human species, focus on the need to have a world in which there is equity, in which the resources available to us are used in such a way that succeeding generations are not still have those resources to enjoy in that time. That means that the things which engineers do in development must be done in such a way that we don't deplete the resources of nature.
The essence of it all is to celebrate the achievement of engineers worldwide on one hand, and the achievement of engineering as a whole as a developing profession for sustainability of the world.
Key engineers speaking with Inside Business Africa said while the UN 17 goals are broad, there are specific targets for engineers. They cited Goal 13, climate action, as an example. Engineers have critical role to play in mitigating and adapting to the effect of changing climate by providing solutions for communities and societies, according to engineers who spoke with CED Magazine and Inside Business Africa. Engineers have always been defined by the problems they have solved, and that modern environmental challenges are no different.
When we burn these fossil fuels, we get negative emission into the air, and this is responsible, for the negative greenhouse emission, which is causing climate change. Thus, on the one hand, we have positive contribution to life through engineering. At the same time, there is a negative aspect, which is the environmental pollution. Now, if we are not careful, if we don't mind, if we are not mindful of these environmental issues, in making our engineering to work for human beings, we may end up in a world that is almost completely destroyed. So we need a sustainable world. That is why we are looking into all the sources of energy that are replaceable.
Totally. I think really and truly, as a consulting engineer, we as they say, we have our work made out, because there is so much to be done. I could give you examples, the railways, bridges, dams, electricity, water supply, digital networks. There is so much really to be done. In a nutshell, that really there needs to be the understanding that as is now being said, engineering is development, development is engineering, and they go so much hand in hand.
In terms of resilient infrastructure, climate change is just one problem engineers can solve in building a sustainable future. Goal number 9, for example, addresses the need for sustainable and resilient infrastructure. So there is still plenty of work to do, but engineers have always been able to provide solutions for sustainable development, including providing infrastructure to make it equitable.
Without engineering, life cannot go on. I always tell people, if you ignore engineers or you ignore engineering profession, it will embarrass you. The medical practice, even hospitals, they rely on engineers. Life sustainability is on engineering. Infrastructural development is engineering. If you ignore engineers, then our infrastructural development will collapse. Right now in Nigeria, our roads are not good, the water supply is not there. The basic essence of life are absent in Nigeria. And for few of our leaders, or privileged few who have traveled abroad, they know the importance of engineering practice. But it's unfortunate in this country we ignore our engineers. We give jobs to foreigners who do not know the terrain of Nigeria. They don't follow the design code of Nigeria. They don't know our do's and don'ts as a nation, as human beings. They give us design and projects that are not sustainable. Some of the jobs these foreign companies are doing are not sustainable, and there are no engineers to work along with them to put them through. The government is messing up by not partnering this foreign company with Nigerian firms. As a consultant, I will publicly appreciate and advocate that any project that the government, either state at the federal level, is giving out to foreign consultant, Nigerian engineers should be involved. The new rail line, beautiful project, but who among the Nigerian firms are involved? So we need to be involved in all the projects and must be visible. The power plants are being built all over Nigeria. There was an administration that awarded so many power projects. No Nigerian engineer dead or alive was involved. It's a shame, but we find ourselves in Nigeria. Now that engineering is being recognized and engineers are to be celebrated, I believe this one will be a wake-up call to our professional colleagues, number one, to our administrators, that engineering should be given the pride of place, that will make our life to be sustainable and to be good enough for future coming. We need to preserve the life of Nigerians, no matter their age, by giving us good water supply, good road network, good communication system, good electricity and constant electricity supply. That's when we can develop.
The politicians decide, what programs, what projects, are going to be done. But how these are going to be done is a matter for engineering. And it is professional. It's not just sentimental. It is, how to get these things done, how to allocate resources and apply resources with efficiency and effectiveness. It is only engineers that can give you that. Otherwise, any other thing you are doing without engineers playing their professional role amounts to throwing money at problems. So you can imagine if you brought $10 billion and threw it on a forest, it certainly has no effect. To stay there until the rains come and the elements will come and tear it to pieces. Yes, and there will still be forest and everything of nature there. But when engineers come and plan out what is to be done there and build it to standards and specifications, then the 10 or 100 billion that you have thrown there, you will actually begin to give value, multiply, and make returns that you can also still use that to do other things once you allow engineering to be done on it the way it is supposed to be done.
Civil engineering is the mother of all the various specializations in engineering, because man first thought of their abode. When you look at the hierarchy of needs of man, habitation is very important, and man has been pursuing this from ages, and civil engineering takes care of this provision. Civil engineering contribution for its sustainable development activities is so vast, because man is still thinking of buildings, man is still thinking of roads, man is still thinking of airports, man is still thinking of storage facilities, and so many other civil engineering activities, which makes civil engineering to be on the forefront for a sustainable development activities.
The World Engineering Day is not just a day for celebrating the engineering achievements benefiting the humankind and its environment. But more importantly, it is a day for the whole world to increase the recognition of the critical importance of engineering for sustainable development. Engineering is that converts scientific discoveries to useful daily necessities, buildings, facilities, tools, and infrastructures for transport, water, electricity, information, etc., driving the economic, social development, delivering a better life to the people. Engineering has a key role in achieving sustainable development goals, especially of clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, climate actions, sustainable cities and communities, and other areas. None of these challenges could be resolved without engineering development and collaboration of engineers across the world. The World Engineering Day is a day to mobilize engineers worldwide to engage in implementation of Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. Engineers are practitioners of engineering to solve problems in human life. Facing the pressing problems of climate change, poverty, and rising inequalities within and among countries, gender inequality, unemployment, global health stress, natural resource depletion, and environmental degradation, freshwater scarcity, and loss of biodiversity. The world needs to accelerate the transformation to the model of sustainability, for which stronger engineering capacity is needed, and more qualified engineers are needed, especially girls and in developing countries. Ladies and gentlemen, in celebrating the World Engineering Day, let's join hands to engage ourselves more proactively in achieving UN Sustainable Development Goals to create a brighter future for ourselves and for our children.
Meanwhile, there is a lot of value in demonstrating and celebrating that engineering and engineering skills are much more diverse than just hardware or technology solutions to ensure right people are attracted to the profession.
We engineers would have to keep learning and keep applying what we learned in the manner it is supposed to be done. We should try to resist all unprofessional and perhaps illegitimate interferences that make it difficult for engineers to take charge and responsibility of the projects or programs that they are supposed to manage, and do what in recent times we had seen a great engineer do when he felt that despite the big position he was holding in a public institution, they were not being allowed to do things in a manner that will be sustainable and will make the place thrive. I'm talking of a very highly respected engineer, Engineer Titi Omoitu. fellow Academy of Engineering. Is one of the greatest engineers this continent has produced. And only recently he resigned his position as chairman of Digital Bridge Institute. That's the highest heroic effort I think an engineer has done in this country. And I think that should be the model, the template.
There's so much to do, and there's so much that are still pending to be done. So we need to come together as professional bodies and look at the things that bind us together rather than the things that differentiate us. How we can collaborate, how we can work together as engineering bodies for the advancement of engineering in Nigeria, for the progress of Nigeria, and to be able to provide infrastructure for our country, Nigeria.
So I will advise engineers, if you have that flair for it, go for it. Come out and start seeing what sort of things can you do to change the nation. What sort of thing can you do to enhance yourself and your distance? So engineering is important. Don't let us kid ourselves about it. And it's the developer, the alpha and omega of anything.
I hope the government of the day will take advantage of this engineering day and take a good look at the engineering profession and the capability of our engineers, the experience, bundle of engineers, of experience that we have, and tap into it and use it, and let Nigeria have a good life, good sustainable life. Water supply should be constant, electricity should be constant, the road network should be good, roads should be available, tram should be available, light rail within the city should be available at minimal cost. Everything should not be billions and billions of dollars. No, there are engineering solutions that are cheaper. Waterway transportation is being initiated in Lagos now. Kudos to the administration, which is good. And life of passengers should be protected. So safety, engineering solution with safety is critical. The generation yet unborn must enjoy the engineering facility we put in place now.
My words to my colleagues today is, one, to be proud of our profession and to realize that the profession which affects lives across the board is so critical that we must remain active and ethical. We must look at the future with great hope and vision so that we can make more meaning of development.
As an engineer, and a very proud engineer, that I congratulate all engineers on this special day. I would say that we need to continue doing what we're doing and continuously be improving. I think every day is engineering day. So if we have a special day, that makes it even greater. So I would just congratulate my fellow engineers around the world. I know so many. I've been privileged to meet engineers in all remote parts of the world, and I am constantly in awe with regards the type of achievements that are being made by engineers. Please keep it up. God bless us all.
You know, engineering is developed based on thinking which are innovative. So engineers across the world must know that innovation is what will keep driving our profession and making it even more relevant in the years to come. When we look back, we see that what were celebrated in history as the wonders of the world, the same wonders of the world were all engineering achievements. The pyramids of Egypt, the hanging towers of Babylon, name it, they were engineering achievements. Now, of course, we are still making more and more achievements, and but we must go into everything we do with the mindset of innovation, and it is then that we can sustain the principle of always adding value to whatever we come to see, so that by the time we leave where we are, we have added value through innovation.
The engineers own the world, and I must congratulate every single engineer, whatever the field of your specialization, be it mechanical, be it civil, be it electrical, be it chemical, whichever aspect of engineering you are involved in, kudos to you. The world belongs to us. And this celebration that is going on is to recognize us. This is the first time this will be done globally, and it is something to be proud of. It is a time to look back at the various achievements that we have made in the fields of human endeavors that is called engineering.